Christians, you may not realize this, but your faith, your religion, has been responsible for numerous atrocities throughout the span of history. But before we go on, I want to preface this video by stating that there are a great many good people out there of all faiths who do not support religious violence in any way. And I applaud you wonderful, beautiful individuals. Thank you. That being said, history is full of examples of Christians carrying out some of the most heinous of crimes in the name of their God. They say they're meek and mild, and then stab, 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 die, die, die. In this video, I'm covering the top 10 historical atrocities committed in the name of Christianity. Number 10, the persecution of pagans in the Roman Empire. 4th through 6th centuries, early Christians were initially oppressed and killed by the pagans. Once Christianity gained ascendancy, particularly after Constantine, the roles were reversed. Temples were destroyed, pagan festivals were banned, and practitioners faced discrimination, violence, and, of course, even death. This began the systematic dismantling of other ancient cultures and knowledge, often through coercive and brutal means. Now, I'm not defending the pagans. They almost certainly started this fight. Violent religious zealots will do violent religious zealot things, but, Christians took it to that extreme. Number 9, the establishment of the Spanish Inquisition, 15th through the 19th centuries. While inquisitions had existed earlier, the Spanish variant became infamous for its ruthlessness and longevity. Established in 1478 by Catholic monarchs Isabel I and Ferdinand II with papal approval, its primary goal was to enforce religious orthodoxy among converts from Judaism, conversos, and Islam, moriscos, many of whom were suspected of secretly practicing their old faith. This Inquisition used torture and fear to extract confessions, and thousands were executed over its centuries of operation, while many more were imprisoned, humiliated, or dispossessed. Its cruelty and the climate of suspicion it created left a dark stain on Spain's history, so much so that even today the phrase the Spanish Inquisition remains synonymous with ruthless interrogation and persecution. Number 8, the Albanian Crusade, 1209 to 1229. A papally sanctioned crusade against the Cathars, a Christian heretic sect in southern France, was marked by extreme brutality, massacres of entire towns, including Catholics suspected of sympathy, and cultural destruction. The infamous phrase, "kill them all, God will know his own," is attributed to this campaign. Number 7, medieval pogroms and anti-Jewish violence, the 11th through the 14th centuries. Another shameful legacy of Christian history is the systematic persecution of Jewish communities throughout medieval Europe. Christian anti-Semitic doctrines, which portrayed Jews as Christ killers and servants of the devil, fueled centuries of marginalization, economic restrictions, and ultimately violence. These pogroms not only took countless lives, but also entrenched a legacy of anti-Semitism that would persist for centuries, probably right up to this day, showing how Christian dogma and institutional power could dehumanize and devastate an entire people. Number 6, the St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre, 1572. This horrific event in 1572 France saw thousands of Huguenots, French Protestants, systematically murdered by Catholic mobs, initially in Paris and then spreading to other cities. Instigated by the Catholic monarchy, fearful of Protestant influence, this act of extreme religious violence saw between 5,000 and 30,000 Protestants slaughtered over several weeks, marking a brutal peak in the French wars of religion. Number 5, the 30 Years' War. While political motivations certainly played a role, this catastrophic conflict originated directly from the religious tensions between Catholics and Protestants in the Holy Roman Empire. It devastated Central Europe, leading to the deaths of millions, estimated range from 4 to 8 million through combat, famine, and disease. It was arguably Europe's most destructive religious war, shattering societies and redrawing maps. Number 4, the Crusades, from the 11th to the 13th centuries. Spanning roughly 200 years starting in the 11th century, these religiously sanctioned military expeditions, primarily European Christians against Muslims in the Holy Land, but also against pagans and even other Christians, resulted in widespread slaughter, plunder, and immense suffering. Events like the Siege of Jerusalem in 1099, where crusaders massacred tens of thousands of inhabitants, including women and children, epitomizes the horrific zealotry. The Crusades weren't just a series of wars. They were a religiously fueled period of sustained violence that left a lasting legacy of bitterness, death, and religious intolerance. Number 3, the transatlantic slave trade and Christian justifications. While slavery predates Christianity by a long ways, the transatlantic slave trade saw millions of Africans brutalized, kidnapped, and forced into servitude over centuries. Christian institutions and figures often provided theological justifications for this atrocity, using biblical passages to normalize and even sanctify the enslavement of people. Ephesians 6:5. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear, with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Number 2, Christian colonialism and the genocide of indigenous peoples, 15th to the 20th centuries. European colonization driven by Christian nations often went hand in hand with missionary efforts. The doctrine of discovery, a series of papal bulls, explicitly gave Christian powers the right to claim lands inhabited by non-Christians. This religious and legal framework directly contributed to the disposition, forced conversion, cultural destruction, and often genocidal extermination of indigenous populations across the Americas, Africas, and Australias, leading to immense death tolls and obliterations of countless cultures. Now, before we get to number 1, I've got to do the YouTube thing. Like and share and leave me a comment. Christians, am I wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Now, on to number 1, the Catholic Church's stance on condoms during the AIDS epidemic in Africa, late 20th century, early 21st centuries. Now, this might seem innocuous, but it tops our list because it represents a catastrophic use of Christian soft power that has directly led to the countless preventable deaths of millions of people right up to this very day. The Catholic Church's unwavering stance on condoms during the AIDS epidemic in Africa should be considered one of the greatest atrocities in the history of mankind. Under leaders like Pope John Paul II and influential figures like Mother Teresa, the Church vehemently opposed condom use, even for HIV prevention, advocating only abstinence and fidelity. In a continent ravaged by AIDS where millions were dying, this dogma, disseminated through vast networks of influence, effectively stripped people of a vital tool for survival. While direct numbers are impossible to calculate, public health experts widely agree this policy tragically exacerbated the crisis, costing millions of lives, demonstrating how words and moral authority can kill on a massive scale. And here's a bonus atrocity, at least in my opinion, the downfall of the United States. The Trump-led right-wing conservative party has overthrown the United States government with the help of the Christian vote. The atrocities and deaths, which will likely be in the millions, see my video over here about that, should land squarely on the shoulders of the Christians who sold their vote to a fascist for the promise that he'd impose their religion on the rest of us. What did I leave off the list? Leave me a comment below and let me know. Christians, did you know your religion is a scam? Click down here to see the top 10 reasons why Christianity is a scam and always has been. I have a whole playlist of the top 10 videos if you're into the top 10s thing. Click down here for those, or, click up here if you want to be put on our mailing list. Sin safely, my friends. Take care.